Hello, and welcome to Frisky Talk 006 with Pole Folder. An important figure in the underground electronic music scene, he's been producing timeless music and live sound experiences for decades. In this conversation, he provides us with a wonderful insight on finding balance in life, the importance of the creative process, being a DJ versus a producer, and so much more. Be sure to see him live at Club NL on October 19th for Get Frisky 80E and enjoy this exclusive conversation with Frisky Talk 006 with Pole Folder. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good, good.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm a bit late, but Brussels is a bit more busy than scheduled on a sunny afternoon. So
I know. Thanks for taking the time.
No problem. With pleasure.
Where are you moving to?
Well, long story. Actually, I'm going back to where I used to be before. So it's Brussels, but I used to be for a few months in Waterloo. You know, the place where Napoleon lost famous battle. And I was living there with, maybe you know him, G.D. Davis. He made a very big track with Shab called Closer to Me.
Yeah, awesome.
With a massive remix from Anna and Cateno. Anyway, so I was there for a few months, and now I'm back to my regular place.
Gotcha. So nice to be going back then.
Yeah, definitely.
And have you been, is this like you're getting a little break in between having to go back on the road?
Right now, actually, I focus mainly on studio work. So because I've got a new place where I'm working, actually in Waterloo. It's a studio with 5 rooms, and different producers are working there. So you get stereo clip. Is signed on a big label in France. Kid Cram and some other guys, so very talented. So it's very cool because it's like a pool of DJs and producers, and we all have separated rooms, but at the same time we are collaborating and seeing each other many times. So it's really cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but so right now I will focus on music and try to how do you say, get the advantage of that new studio, because the sound is really, really, really cool. The guy who did the acoustic is the guy who did the new studio of Skrillex and Deadmau5. No, not Deadmau5, but Skrillex, Nausea. I don't know if you know Nausea. All those. So yeah, so that guy is very, very, very good. So the acoustic of the room is pretty awesome.
Wow, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So that's nice to put some time. Do you have projects that you're working on now that you're going to take into the studio, or are you just starting fresh?
It's a good question, actually, because all the previous work are done. So it's just like I've got a new blank sheet in front of me. And I think I'm going to try to explore new directions and new sounds. I feel like I need something different a little. So, and it's the right time. Sometimes you want to make a change in your life, but you can't because you still have projects still going on, and it's not possible to change things. But right now, it's like a new chapter. So I think I will get that opportunity to do new things and go into new directions in terms of sound too. So yeah.
Like what?
I kind of it's hard to explain because I don't. But like I've got that new way of working, like a bit more punchy and more fall to the floor, and I get that industrial noises in my head, and so it's like I know that something is changing, but I don't know how deep will be the change. So I will discover it myself actually. So, but I know it's kind of a new step for me right now. So
Oh, well, it's like perfectly in line with moving in a new.
yeah, exactly. Sometimes sometimes you want changes, but you can't do it because you still have to do that remix or that project or that EP or all those things in your life that are in process. But everything is done for me. Like yeah, it's an interesting moment, and I don't think that you get that opportunity many times in your life. So I will jump on it.
It's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. But it's still not very clear for me. So yeah, it's like I know that something will change, but I don't know exactly how it will change. But I know something will change.
I think that's a good way to go into it, though, because then
Yeah,
if you don't have expectations, then it just happens as it happens.
exactly. So it's exciting at the same time because nothing is planned. So all the doors are open. So it's good.
Is that just like your plans for the rest of the year then, just being in the studio? And what about things with the label?
Well, I mean, in the short future, the close future, we get the ADE, so that's the a major moment before the end of the year. So we've got to focus on this for the moment. But besides that, and the gigs, it's gonna be studio.
Awesome. Is it stuff that is this all just going to be kind of your personal projects?
Again, it's like everything is possible. So
That's true.
yeah, might be with portfolio or different name or collaborations or I don't know. It's like I said, everything is possible, and it's interesting. It's interesting because I'm not. How do you say that? I'm not locked, with boundaries or something like that. So let's see what happens, and yeah, let go where the. It's not like where the wind goes, but where the sun goes. So,
I love it. I love it. So what's this last year been like for you then? Do you feel like it was kind of the end of, did you know this change was coming, or just
mm, why? I I don't know. I don't feel like it's a midlife crisis or something like that.
no.
But
No, I just like, the end of a stage.
yeah, but at the same time, things were moving in a different direction. So it's been like a year full of observations for me. Like uh, things change in my personal lives, and definitely it affects you on some point with the artistic process.
Hmm.
But it's been kind of strange and maybe rough sometimes, but very very interesting. And I really felt like this year was kind of a chapter closing. But at the same time, things will stay in process. Like I'm still working with the same guys in Argentina and places like that, and we've got some very very cool projects for the next months. So I've got some things which will continue to go and to evolve. But at the same time, some things are closing, some new things are happening. So yeah, it's 2017. It's a special one, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear that from a lot of people, so it's always interesting to hear.
Yeah, but I heard that it was something happening with some kind of planets synchronization. I don't know. So.
I wouldn't be surprised because it seems pretty universal from.
Yeah, I heard about it. And every time I speak with people, they say, "Yeah, but it's a year of change because Pluto is in." Oh, okay. We, yeah, I've got no idea what they are talking about, but it seems that something's happening.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe it's true on some point. So yeah.
I love it. That's awesome to hear. I'd love to actually maybe then get your philosophy on the music and what you feel like you're sharing through it and what motivates you to create.
Yeah. Hmm? Well, actually, the motivation to create is always there, and I think it's an interesting point because that's the key, definitely. If that was not there, I'm not sure I would be still doing music today because it's a very strange career, and these days, I guess even more strange than maybe 15 years ago. And I think it's very, very, very important to get that desire of creating, because I think this is the purest one. To create something and you don't care about what's going to be next, but just to be in studio creating things or trying to do the best that you can in the studio, in the mix session and things like that. It's always a creation process, but definitely for me that's the key. And at one moment when I was not sure anymore if I would continue to do music, I sit down and I thought, okay, why are you doing this? Because I started to be a musician like 40 years ago. So yeah, it's a long time. I started to go at the music school. I was 5 years old. So yeah, so
How did that start? That you were just naturally, what did you play, or is it multiple things?
I started with the trumpet actually, but I was too small, too little. So I started with a small trumpet in French, that cornet. It's like a trumpet but smaller. And I started with that, and I played trumpet for many, many, many years after. And so music has been always a very big part of my life. And but you get that moments where suddenly you ask yourself, okay, do I still want to do that? Because everybody's changing the career or things like that, and you can do that with an artistic project, I think. And the desire to continue was deeply connected to the pleasure I've got when I'm creating, because yeah, it's great. I mean, since the first day in studio, since today, I enjoy a lot spending times in studio and creating and working with sounds and things like that. And when you go a bit outside of the career project, when with the like you can leave it today with Facebook and getting likes and getting attention and stuff like that. So which can be like a exhausting battle on some point and a bit boring at the end. But everything goes away when you go in studio, because that's where the real desire are exactly. So yeah, it's very important for me. Very important.
Yeah, that's such a great point of it. That's just you're kind of shutting everything else out, which I know that's a hard thing to deal with balancing creativity and having to like promote yourself.
Yeah, and at the same time, today it's necessary. Like I remember before MySpace, it was not really necessary. If people still remember MySpace, but
Yes.
but yeah, and today that's place. I mean, that balance between promotion and creation is a bit blurry, and sometimes people like they don't care about creation, they just promote themselves, which works sometimes, but I wouldn't be happy in that kind of process. For me, it's not it's not the reason I started music. Like when I started music, I was 5 years old. I didn't care about promotion at all. And at one moment, I was a bit too much into that, and then I understood that I can't be lucky in that perspective. So I went back to the origins, and when you go back there, you are perfectly happy.
I feel like if you're just doing things from your heart, then the rest will follow.
Yeah, exactly, definitely. I've got the chance to do what I want, to create music, to still continue today, and I can share it with many people in different places around the world. So I feel this is already great. So the achievement, when I look back and I see myself playing in work bands in small clubs and bars in Belgium, and I see that today I've got the opportunity to play in United States or South America or a bit everywhere in Europe. I think that's super cool. And sometimes you get something and then you want more, and that endless quest is not going it's going nowhere. So so I think it's cool sometimes to appreciate what's going on and not to try to go somewhere, to the next level, because it's always the next level, the next step, more followers, more gigs, more people attending the gigs and stuff like that. And I'm not sure that you can be happy with that perspective. So,
No, I don't think you ever can.
no, definitely not. And I want to be happy in my life. So this is the reason. Okay, stop this because it's a waste of time. It's going nowhere. So.
And when are you the happiest? Creating?
Everything is like connected. So I wouldn't be happy only in studio, or I wouldn't be happy only playing music. So I need both. But I guess that how can I say, like probably the studio is first, and then the stage is the second step. But they are deeply connected, and I need both.
I'd love to hear like the stages between when you were 5 years old and going to music school. Did you just keep going to music school up like until you started getting into electronic music?
Yeah, I was going to music school at the same time to the regular school, and then when I was supposed to enter the, what do you say, conservatoire, so that's the ultimate school in music, let's say. And I passed the test and I was ready for it, and then I started to play in rock and roll bands, and I said, yeah, fuck off to the music school, and I started rock and roll bands and then electronic music step by step. And actually I never asked myself what I was, if what I was doing was the right thing or not, because I was just making music, doing music, trying to get gigs and creating new bands and stuff like that, and trying to start studio. And so it was like like you are in the flow in the river, and you don't question yourself, you just make music. And after I get the chance to sign with Sony Music in Belgium, and then like very quickly with Bedrock, and things start to get a different dimension, because I started to be like international, when before I was just like a local band in Belgium, and it was different. But it's been like always like briefing more or less, like music, and I never asked myself if it was a good idea or not, even if, I mean, like probably for many people around the world, your parents or the people around you, they start to say, yeah, why don't you don't you get a real job? Yeah, music is cool, but get a real job. uh, but for me, no, it was natural, like and even when things get a bit more complex, around 2010, when I start to ask myself, okay, this is a bit more complicated than it used to be, and I had to stop with my big studio in Belgium. That moment where I asked myself if I was doing the right thing was very, very short, like maybe a few months, and then I started a new studio again. And so, yeah, I don't see myself quitting.
Good.
One, I can't actually. Because I, like you said before with your question, because I love it. It's like a great pleasure for me to be in studio. So I would like hurt myself if I was not doing this. So it's like very natural.
So you started when you first started getting into like electronic music, you were first producing and releasing tracks, or were you also DJing?
Well, before producing electronic music, so I was in work and work bands. I was playing, but first I was when I was in music school, I was in symphonic orchestra and a jazz combo and stuff like that. And then I started the rock and roll bands. I was first a singer, a terrible one. So I hope that all the tapes from that moment are burned.
No, want to find that now.
Yeah, it was a real disaster. But I was singer first and playing guitars and keyboard. And then because I really loved the sound from the synthesizer, I start to buy my new synthesizer, and then I start studio. But it was very difficult at that time because studio were very, very expensive. And in the middle of the 90s, I mean, it was really, really expensive to start your own studio. And then at that moment when I started the studio, I stopped slowly to work with rock and roll bands, and for a few years I was doing only instrumental electronic tracks. And then I met CP, and we created the first track together, which was signed on Bedrock. And 1 year after, I start to get more and more requests to play as a DJ, and this is the reason actually I start to first try to mix two tracks together with turntables, which was very difficult at the time. And then I start to play more and more, and today it's cool because I play as a DJ, but with a setup which integrates controller and synthesizer and stuff like that. So I'm like mixing what I used to do before, like being a real musician, with the DJ side, and that's very, very cool for me. I really like that setup. But that's basically what happened. I mean, from the early days till today, and today it's studio and playing like live performer with the DJ side, but at the same time the more musician side. So that's my setup today.
That's awesome. It's funny because so many DJs had the story where they started out as DJs, and then they like felt the need to become a producer.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's see the opposite.
yeah. But that used to be like that back in the days, and I mean today because before it was not that necessary for a DJ to have a track. It was like a second step, but you could take the time to make it. But now you really need a track, and then you're gonna get the gig. So I think it would be impossible for a festival or a club to book today a DJ without a track. I think. I mean, on a certain level, maybe not in a small place, but for a certain level, you need that credibility of being a producer to be respected as a DJ, which is a long topic for me because some very good producer can be very good DJ, and some great DJ are not producer. And at the same time, some guys are really good DJ and they don't need more. So, but today you need that. You need a track, and it's strange. It's really strange.
Yeah, why is that? Is that just for recognition?
I guess so. It's like you can't be just a producer. You can't be just a DJ. You can't be just a A&R. It's like you need to do everything, which is like cool, but at the same time, it's 24 hours a day. So it's making everything more complex. And this is the reason, like, for many years, I didn't consider myself really like a DJ because I think that guys are much more talented than I am. I mean, like when I'm listening to Hernan Cataneo or my friend CP, I mean, those guys, they can play for 10 hours and they're going to be mind blowing. And it's not that I'm thinking I suck because I can do that job, but I'm doing that job with a different perspective. It's not like natural, like the DJ will go and try to get the best track and create the whole night with the best track he's got. When I'm gonna try to create something much more like in a studio, creating a track. So I'm using the track like sound elements, and not like key points for the dance floor, like a real DJ will do. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm. It's not that I don't consider myself as a DJ because I can do the job, and I've been first a DJ on vinyl, and then on CD, and then USB, and now it's much more a controller thing with Ableton. But it's not my natural skill or my natural desire. I mean, the best DJ I ever met, those guys, they bought 2 turntables one day and then they started, which is not my case. I mean, I bought turntables because people asked me to play as a DJ. So it's like the different perspective. And I love music, but I never spent so many hours in a record shop trying to get that crazy track that's going to make everyone nuts on the dance floor. That's not my quest. My quest is much more in the studio to try to get the right track and the right sound. When those guys are gonna hunt for days and days for the perfect tracks to build the set on the perfect way. So I think it's different mentality, different perspective. But today, like, it's impossible to do that. I mean, come on, if you want to spend 3 days in a record shop and trying to get the best records, I mean, you can't be in studio, you can't have your own label. It's like super difficult. I mean, if you get a family to raise stuff like that, it's not possible. And I think it's an interesting topic because today you don't give the chance to a real DJ to be a DJ. You're gonna ask him, okay, but you get to be a producer, you get to be an A&R. No, come on, being a DJ, just a DJ is fantastic. And those guys are very, very important for the scene because they discover the new talents or the new tracks, and they show it to the rest of the world. It's like it's very, very important for me, the work of a DJ. But it seems like that today, just that job is not relevant anymore. You need more, 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 which is, I think, a wrong perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And back to what you had said earlier, if you keep going for more and more, then you're losing out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because especially today, like there are so many tracks coming up, like it's a very, very, very hard job to listen to everything. Because back in the days with the record stores and the vinyl, it was, you had that kind of filter. First, the guys at the distribution company, then the guy who was running the record store would filter the records, and then when you were going there, you had already your set of records ready, and you could listen to a prepared selection. But today you go to Beatport, you open Beatport, and you just see that you get like 2,000 new
Yeah.
new records ready to, and okay. So yeah, today the job of a DJ is even more complex than 20 years ago. And still you get to be a DJ and be a producer and be an A&R, and yeah, so complex.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting and hard to stand out, I think. There's a lot that, you know, DJs that sound the same playing the same stuff, and that's kind of missing out on the
Yeah, and I think that many guys just would like to be DJ, but they are feeling like, okay, you are missing something if you are just a DJ. And again, I think no, no, no. It's very, very interesting, and it's very interesting to listen to a good DJ because, I mean, I've been a clubber for many years. I still go out even when I'm not playing. I like that, and I like when the guy in the behind the decks is doing a good job. And I'm not, today. Sometimes you go to listen to producer, and some of them are terrible DJs. But I don't want to say negative things about anyone, but sometimes I'm like surprised and set is going nowhere, and I'm like, I'm losing my time here. Just
Yeah, no, I've seen that for sure where there's somebody that, oh, they have really great tracks and they go see him live and it's super boring.
yeah, and at the same time, it's too bad because you are asking to a guy to do something that he can't understand. Maybe I've got the chance that Belgium was very, very big in the club culture for many years when I was 18. And so I was going to clubs from my 18 till my 30 on a very, very hard way. And being on the dance floor as a clubber, it's opened my perspective to understand the work of a DJ. But still, it's the perspective from the guy on the dance floor. It's not the real perspective from the DJ. So, but I can understand the setup of a night and the construction of a set. But some guy didn't get that chance, and they think that okay, playing will be like a succession of tracks all together. But sometimes they miss the point big time, and sometimes I would prefer to have a real DJ in the club than a producer was invited because he did a track and maybe he's going to make a good job during the night, but he's not. And this is the reason, to go back to the beginning of that topic, I really believe that it's interesting to give back to the real DJ, in French we say les lettres de noblesse, the noble letters. What do you say that? You know, they deserve that respect to be just a DJ and to do the right job. Well,
I love that. Who do you think, who's some of like your favorite that as a clubber you've seen, experienced?
well, I had the chance to listen to very, very talented guys here in Belgium, like Marco was playing in a very big club called La Roca, was very, very talented. Fifi was playing at Extreme. It's a very good club also in Belgium. They were the first to invite John Digweed back in the days. My friend CP is a very, very, very talented DJ. Like that guy can play with 3 turntables with faders up. and he's got 60,000 records in his place. So that's a major record collection. 60,000. I don't. So I think his parents are watching the TV with record, because the vinyls are spread in his house and his parents' house, because he's got too much. So you go to the loo and you've got vinyls everywhere. And those guys are really awesome. But then John Digweed is really fantastic for me, and Hernan Cateneo. Every time I listen to him, is always mind blowing. Like never missing something in the night. Everything is always great every night. I never been to a club when he was playing and thought, oh, okay, this could be better. No, it was always excellent. Like sometimes you feel that he reached the top, and no, he's done something even better. So, and then I listen to guys like Jamie Jones, also doing not exactly what I would play, but doing the right set, also delivering the right feeling for the clubbers on the dance floor. Because also I can appreciate a guy doing a good set with the sound I'm not producing or I'm not playing myself. I think this is really cool. For a good DJ can make you appreciate the music he will play. That's the names I've got in my mind for the moment. So, but there are many good guys. So I don't want to speak about the negative sides, but no, there are many talented guys. But maybe it's a bit more difficult to get that experience with the new generation, maybe. But it was maybe much more natural back in the days than today. Maybe that's just my point.
Yeah, if you're evolving from a point where you had to be using vinyl and there was, everything that was coming out was more on the same level.
And also the fact that today there is something a bit special, like most of the time you get like 2 hours of gig, sometimes less. So you don't get the opportunity to be alone for many hours with the club and to try to keep everyone on the dance floor, which was really cool for us for me also when I started, because it gives you practice, when you get to play like 5 hours in a club, okay, you don't have the choice. So, and then you do that 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and then it develops the skills and the vision of the dance floor. And I think that you evolve all the time. But today, with those very, very short set of 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, it's not really good in terms of practicing. Because to be good with 2 hours is not that bad. It doesn't push you to the limits. When you to play like I play sometimes 7 hours, but then you get to to be better than what you can be normally. So I think it's something very interesting. You go out of the comfort zone, and it's a very, very good exercise, actually.
You have recently, right, done when you've played live as well for like a 5-hour set?
Yeah, I play like 7-hour set back to back with my friend Marcello Vasami when I was playing in Bahrain, in Buenos Aires, last month. So that was cool and a very nice experience, because he was on a CDJ and I was playing with Ableton, and so it's a very, very cool moment. But I've got my night in Brussels every month, which is called The Night Becomes Electric, and I play for 5 hours alone, which is interesting because also it's in a small place, and you get to, because the location is like very intimate, and it's not like a real club with the big sound system, the light, and everything, which makes the track better when you So if you play the wrong track, it's like you feel it directly, which is very, very interesting. Actually, it's like an exercise again for me because the 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 weak tracks, they won't pass the test in that kind of the setup. So it's ask you to get the right track. You can't miss. Like you can't play a weak track and think, okay, that's okay because I've got smoke and I've got a bigger machine and I've got a, I don't know, the big subwoofer delivering everything. So that's a good exercise for me. It's like 5 hours of set, and this is the reason why I was doing this for 3 years, because for me it was like an exercise. Definitely try to get better and better, and I think it's necessary to keep playing and to stay in the loop. So it will give you the opportunity to get better instead of just going to a place, playing 90 minutes and then going back home and playing 2 weeks after again 90 minutes. And
Yeah, I love that. I love that it's still a process.
yeah, definitely. You learn every day, and it's never. And that's the beauty and the interest of the also is the fact that you get a ways to renew the challenge. And after every gig, I ask myself, okay, was it a good one? Was it a bad one? What can I change? What can I? And it's that's a very interesting part of the job too. It's like it's not a routine at all.
This has been super fun. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I'll let you get back to your movie.
It was a pleasure.
I'm really excited to hear what comes out of this new studio and your new sound. And
but as soon as the first one are ready, I will start to show some previews on SoundCloud and things like that. But I've got a couple of remixes coming out on Global Underground, and also we made a sampler for the ADE with the guys at Rework. So that's gonna be out on the 12th of October, and that's the last project I finished before the new one.
For the new beginning.
Exactly. New chapter.
Awesome. It's really exciting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lauren. And you're gonna be at the ADE too? Or?
I am, yes.
Ah, perfect.
Yes, I'm super excited. So we'll have to hang out.
You at Club NL for the Get Frisky party.